Hello, everybody. Welcome to I don't even know what to the night shift edition of today's Banter Blitz, the after party. We had the tournament, which I did not win, but it looked like it ran through more or less alright. And since it's Independence Day, and I'm so happy that our American friends are now 241 years free of the British Empire. Was this my introduction to the last show already? I think it was. I decided to play some more Blitz games. This is Banter Blitz. We should do this introduction more Jackass style. I'm Bam Margera, and this is Banter Blitz 89. The format of the show is I click on like names, then I play them in like chess games. Then I say stuff like, haha, he blundered all his pieces. I win, yay me. And if that does not happen, then I get very upset, condescending, snarky. I, make thinly veiled accusations of cheating. You know the drill. In the meantime, a lot of self-deprecating narcissism, which is a thing. It's like the humble brag. I may sound self-deprecating, but I'm still very full of myself while I do that. You know the drill. This opening is called the Ragozin. And the point of it is, you pin the knight and you develop the bishop. Then next you want a castle, or you want to do something aggressive. And after bishop g5, you can transpose to one of my favorites, the Vienna with d takes c4. e3 is a mistake here, e4. Keeping options open of going e5 is more active, because after e3, b5, I can hang on to my extra pawn. And nothing fills my heart with more joy. Oops, that was wrong. How do I do this without this happening? a3 played. I could of course take on c3. I could also contemplate. I could contemplate going to sleep, but I was gonna say contemplate bishop a5. Looks a little artificial, so I'll take. And then go bishop b7, a6. Even though after a4, maybe bishop a5 was a better move. Not sure. I guess I should finish my sentences so they make some sense here. I was thinking a4, a6, and then maybe queen b1 could be a bit awkward to mate. I do have bishop e4. No, I don't. Bishop e4, bishop f6. See, it's late already. So a4, a6, queen b1, and I'm not sure what to do. I'll do something. Queen d5 maybe, but I won't be sure about it. Alright, I'm trying to fire up the chat. He goes rook b1. Also fair enough. a6, can he go bishop takes c4? Maybe he can. The question is, can I do something about it? Probably not. I'll go a6 and let him figure out if bishop c4 works or not. I have a feeling it does work, unfortunately. Goes a4. Now I should certainly throw this in. Before I go c6, I should get my bishop out of the way and step out of all bishop takes c4 ideas. Yeah, rook a1 is sort of an admission that something has not gone well. Yeah, instead of a4, bishop takes c4 was the move. Now it seems like I might finally consolidate my extra pawn, my precious. e2, let's develop a bit. I guess c5 is logical as well to get rid of my double pawn, create some more space for my pieces. Even though he more or less gave me 2 tempi, it's still... Nah, but my position is good. I shouldn't whine too much about it. Still not clear, I was gonna say. That's pretty decent. What are we talking about in the chat? The Elven's counter gambit? Yeah, it's not a very good opening. As most counter gambits. Whenever an opening has counter gambit in the name, don't play it. I don't know if any opening but the Elven's has counter gambit in its name. But that's enough evidence for me in that case. Bam, bam, bam. Queen b2. What can we do? This looks logical, no? Trying to keep a grip on this long diagonal. Making it harder for white to go knight to d2. Also making it harder for me to blunder any bishop takes c4 related tricks. And Slinka or Klinka is saying my stream is not working. My apologies, Klinka. Does anybody else have that problem? If not, I'm just gonna keep soldiering on, I guess. Knight d5 looks like an unpleasant little move to meet, threatening knight f4 or knight takes c3. I can't see how he's gonna parry those. So yeah, not the most spectacular game in the world, but I hung on to my extra pawn and improved my position along the way. Therefore, Jasper Reichen is in some serious trouble now. What's the profile picture? He's playing a chess game in, what do you call this? A sleeveless shirt. Probably ripped. Our boy Jasper. Rook a5 is slightly funny looking, but I want to occupy the a file. He doesn't want me to do that, which is a pity. Fuxia is wondering if the Catalan is technically a gambit. It is, but yeah. It's kind of bad for white to accept that gambit. No, for black to accept that gambit. No, not bad, but no one has ever disputed the compensation. But technically the Catalan is a gambit, even though I don't think people call it the Catalan gambit. They call it, whatever they call it, just the Catalan, right? The Catalan opening. Here I must queen my queenside pawns. And I shall do so. Conte Yellow, big expert on all the counter gambits, points out the Falkbier is another counter gambit. That's true. e4, e5, f4, d5. I guess it's always when you put a lot of random pawns in the center. d4, d5, c4, e5, e4, e5, f4, d5. It's symmetrical and both are called counter gambit. See, Hernandez is saying Jan should wear a wife beater. I'm not sure we're still saying wife beater. Isn't that like considered to be not a nice word to use? And yeah, I'm not sure it's my style. It's probably more Radio Jan style. The England is also a counter gambit. I don't think that's true because you're not countering any gambit. I think in order to play a counter gambit, your opponent has to have played a gambit already. Like the Queen's gambit, d4, d5, c4, technically a gambit. Then counter gambit Albans, or the King's gambit, counter gambit Falkbier. I don't know, I'm just talking. Let's play against Garcia Almaguer. From Mexico. By the way, the session won't last forever. I'll play for a little less than an hour. Still gotta make it home. Got a long way home. And who knows if I can still make it home with all these roadblocks with the G20 thing happening. I'm not sure. Are there any roadblocks? I don't think the city is on total lockdown yet. But we have this G20 with Trump and Putin and everybody else coming to town, to Hamburg City, over the weekend. A bunch of the guys are probably here already. So the city is in a state of alertness. Is that the word? Who knows? And C. Hernandez is explaining what wife beater means. I know, it means a sleeveless shirt, but I think we're not supposed to say it anymore. I know all about it, because Leon was sporting those. He was sporting a green one in Curb Your Enthusiasm. As for the position, I didn't really pay close attention. I was so caught up in the wife beater discussion. I should stop using that word. That really doesn't make it better or funnier. It's a Marachi where I always believe in white, but you always have to be very careful not to give black any counterplay before look like a smart move to play here, because after AB, my knight on C1 covers my rook on A1. So the queen has to go to a slightly awkward square, unless this works, but I thought it didn't work. It doesn't work, does it? Rook A5, knight D2, rook A8. I'm winning a piece. I like winning pieces. So yeah, this was a cute shot, but it doesn't really seem to work. Knight F3 at least gives him 2 pawns for the investment, but it should also not be enough. I was wondering if I should pre-move this or not, but I don't see any reason not to. Yeah, it's just not a good situation to be in for Garcia Almaguer. Still, he does have 2 pawns, so care is certainly still needed. Normally I say care is still needed, but then don't take any care. D7 back. What's that about? I had knight c2. Bishop h6 and knight c2. That's what I mean by care is needed. Just spot simple tactics. As mentioned, the good news is there is a certain margin for error here, but I should not exhaust that margin completely. Not very impressive technique, I have to say. And I'm annoyed now, which is always bad too. It's a hard knock life. Alright, time to start thinking about a winning plan. Probably attack some stuff. Using my extra piece. I don't know if that plan should have been formulated in a little more detail. Feels like I'm just aimlessly moving around, to be honest with you. I saw knight f3, knight h2, but then I decided, who cares? Drifting. I don't know why I started tilting so badly. Yeah, for no particular reason. Maybe it's because I missed knight c2 earlier. But that should normally not send me on full tilt, since my position is still quite good. And what to do? Feeling there must be cheapos available again, but my cheapo dar is strangely out of sync. HG knight e3. This has to be winning somehow. Could give this check. Then this check. Is that good? King e5 is the only legal move, so you should play that without further ado. My point was that now his knight is still hanging, so I have the time to save the g-pawn, which should be a useful asset to have. But I'm still on tilt, which is not a useful thing to be. Horsey, find a nice square. Go find yourself a new home. Okay, the end is approaching. Thanks for the game, Garcia Almagar. I'm not sure this was very textbook technique. No, I'm sure it was pretty bad technique, actually. That's why I was annoyed. But piece is a piece. Got the job done in the end. Right, let's play another game against the false lord. You shall not honor the false. I struggle pronouncing the word false. Like, how silent is the S? Is it false or is it false? False lord. You shall not honor false lords. I shall not even acknowledge false lord's presence. See? He doesn't even show up. Doesn't show up for you when you need him. Fast lord. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're bored. Sorry, fast lord. And you guys here, where all my Americans with their Independence Day free time at? Not a lot of Americans on this site. It's more of a, European thingy. But, of course, I live my life trying to Americanize myself more and more. All my pop culture influences are American. Spent a lot of time, for my standards, in New York City and some other. And I'm being informed on false. Brooklyn Bobby says, I'm American. Where could Brooklyn Bobby be from? Probably from Chicago. Like, we have the same riddle with this guy Chicago Dave, who I believe is from the Netherlands. But Brooklyn Bobby, my best guess, he's either from Queens or from Chicago. Or none of those things, and he just likes Robert James Fisher, who was from Brooklyn. I don't know these things. Pluto 12 decided to show up after all, but gave up the center so quickly. 3 moves in, and you're already giving me the center. Don't play knight f6 here. Play d4 or dc4 or e6 or c6. That's the list of moves that are acceptable here. No other moves are. Evans Gambit is pointing out, I don't like delay. That's true. I'm not going to go as far and say I like everything coming out of America. But I like a lot of stuff. I feel like it's more... Is that true? I was going to say it's more polarized. There's more good, very good stuff, and there's more very bad stuff. But I'm not really an expert on the topic. I just sit at home and watch Game of Thrones and think I'm very American. C. Hernandez is also American. He's from Chicago. I got it wrong. Well, Evans Gambit is asking, Jan, can you name 150 countries in the world? Oof, can be hard to keep count, right? I guess not. Let's see, how many do I know? I know the USA and Canada, so that's 2. Then it's getting tougher. I know Germany. 3. The Netherlands. Why is the Netherlands number 4 on my list? That's just weird. It shouldn't be Russia or some big place. The Czech Republic. Slovakia. It's weird where my mind goes. Let's get some package deals out of the way. Like Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland. Belgium. Luxembourg. Is anybody keeping count? This is a show where I just randomly name countries. Then I jump to the Ivory Coast, which makes no sense, because I should at least stay in continents, not say like Ivory Coast, then Chile, then Australia, because you're going to lose track. But yeah, I think this is the complete list of countries I know. I think I made it to like 15, which is pretty good. And I didn't even go to either the Balkans or the Baltics, which many people confuse. Very different things. And there is no country called... I'm always starting to say country. No country called Latvia or Latvia. Even though some people believe Kristaps Porzingis is from Latvia, I know better than that. Shaba saying, I'm on 145. Okay, then let's land this ship. Estonia, Lithuania, Nigeria, South Africa, and don't forget Bolivia, as Clash City Rocker points out. Let's wrap up with Spain. Ignore France, but name Portugal instead. I think that's 150 countries. There you go. As for the game, I didn't really pay attention, as is evidenced by the move e5 that runs into bishop d3, rook d3, c4. Not the smartest decision ever taken by me. He goes c4 now, but now can I have to count. fe7, cb, take here, take there. I take a lot of stuff. I think that's as good a count as you're gonna get. And by a lot of stuff I meant I'm gonna have a rook and 2 minor pieces against the queen, which is normally considered to be more than enough. I'm wondering how many countries I've been, but I did this list once and it wasn't as impressive as I was hoped, because chess makes you travel quite a bit, which is one of the things you don't really realize while you're more of an active player. But then when you're not so much of an active player anymore, like yours truly these days, then you start realizing the privilege that it is to be seeing lots of countries, normally not paying for your own hotel room, and seeing the world really. So I'm grateful to chess, as corny as this sounds, for giving me that. But yeah, many places I haven't been. I haven't been to Africa ever, and I've never been to Latino America. And I haven't been to Australia or New Zealand. So yeah, big parts of the world that I have not gone to. Europe I've been to a lot of places, not surprisingly. Almost blundering a rook here after queen a6, but I do have rook b5. So just almost. Still, shout out to Pluto number 12 for spotting that. LPDO, loose pieces drop off. Shava is pointing out St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't think I've been there, but I once took a Caribbean cruise, so I've probably been nearby. I should stop having my rooks hanging all over the place. Having my rooks hanging all over the place sounds dirty, right? It wasn't meant to be dirty. From now on, I shall put my pieces on squares where they're protected. Nauru, is that a country? That might not have made my list. I did not know Nauru was a country. The most isolated sovereign nation in the world. 500 inhabitants. That's not a lot. Gotchio is saying, Jan, sing an ABBA song for all the Swedes watching. You can't speak for all the Swedes with your ABBA love. I'm well informed on the topic. I was quizzing Niels Grandelius on how much he loves ABBA. He said, nah, it's over. My generation, we don't care. We don't care about any of those. He didn't care about ABBA, didn't care about Ace of Base, didn't care about Roxette. Well, I think he cared a bit about Roxette. But, yeah. You know how these young kids are. They like what do they like? They're loop troop rockers when it comes to Swedish music, but not the classics. So don't pretend like you Swedes have ABBA's back when I know better. Give me your queen. Nauru, population went up from 500 to 10,000 within the last minute. Gonna have to Google it myself, I'm guessing. By the way, as I'm checking my list here, for Brooklyn Bobby it says United Kingdom, just so you know. But sometimes these lists are confusing. I think it depends on where you are when you open an account. And we are playing Karpov's Putzfrau, who's playing the cunning move, 1a3. Of course, intending to meet d5 with e4. Now I'm familiar with the stylings of Mr. Putzfrau, so none of this surprises me. But it's still... what can I say? Queen b5, novelty. Normally he prefers the move queen h4 in the situation, but knight d4 is a bit awkward. Yeah, I'm not sure if this opening has gone well. He has to play queen b7, then knight d4, and I'm gonna have to calculate a bit, but it does look promising. Queen a4 is another tempting alternative. After b5, queen b3, knight d4. So queen b7 has to be played. I'm trying to figure out if I can do better than knight d4. Knight d4 looks good. Knight a5, queen b4. Can I trap that queen? c5, queen c5, e6, queen e3. No, not trapping it there. So I guess queen b7 is the best bet. Maybe he's gonna play queen c4 or something along those lines. But it's none of those things are a very pretty sight. Maybe queen c4, intending knight d4, knight takes e4. But there must be some checkmate lurking there as well. And he decided on queen b7, followed by king d2, which is fair enough. What else you gonna do? Can I trap the queen? It's of course my first question, but I don't want to think about these tough questions for too long. Let's stare at this position a little longer. E5 is gonna go knight takes e4, which I feel he doesn't deserve that pawn even. Rook b8, queen a6, rook b6, queen a4 check. Nah, not winning yet either. I'll give him the a6 pawn though. E6 was dumb. Should have gone e5. I wanted to go e5. Then I changed my mind for really no reason. Because now queen a4 check. I can't meet with bishop d7. Not that my position is terrible because of any of those things. But, you know. Not the ideal choices. Knight g e2 is what I'm expecting. I'm trying to figure out what to do about it. Maybe still e5. Knight d4, ed, e4. Not clean cut enough. So, knight g2. What else can I do? Knight b5. Looks a bit odd. He goes h3, fair enough, but my bishop feels better on this diagonal anyway, and I don't think bishop g2 helps the white case all that much. Case, of course, he goes knight e2 now. But let's see where this king is headed. Welcome into my world. It's a bit painful to take on d4. Should be good enough, but it's not really what I wanted. I can't see any better, and I shouldn't spend all my time. e5 is coming, so that should win me my material back. And the king on e3 is not ideally placed. At least some would argue that. And they'd be right. Drama. Kapovsputzfrau decided to get some pieces out. Probably a good decision. What shall I take? E3 and B2? I guess, no? Yeah, the white position still not very pleasant, even though he has, of course, fought back heroically. It's still a pretty sad situation. It's sad. So sad. Now let's just take pawns. No reason to do anything fancy. We can just take all the pawns and stay in control. Now looks like a good time to go e5. Winter is coming. Yeah, thanks for the game, Cup of Sputzfrau. I'm not a specialist, but I have a feeling the opening choice, especially after Queen d2, Knight c6, Queen g5, I still have my doubts about. I'll say that much. But he fought back very nicely after that. And yeah, it was an interesting game for sure. Let's play some more. No noobs. We need noobs to keep this party going. Oh, now this is a noob in every sense of the word. And I mean some offense. Mr. Cook is probably quite new to chess. And I have never played him either. So let's get it out of the way. I shall play the Sicilian. Conte Yellow is asking, Jan, which brother of the past would you like to have as brother? As brother? Which player of the past would you like to have as brother? I don't know. Who could be fun to have as brother? Or do I want to learn stuff from him? I'm not so well versed in chess history. People always say Tal was an amazing personality. I'm not sure he would have been a good brotherly influence when it comes to smoking and drinking and collecting pawns and all these values that I hold dearly. But yeah, he could have been fun. Botvinnik's probably not the type of brother you want to have either. Too strict. Who else? I don't know. I don't know people. I never had a brother. It's a weird question. I don't know. Gimme. Who was the most materialistic of all the great players? Somebody who enjoyed grabbing stuff as much as I do. Like Steinitz. I feel I'm very close in philosophy to Steinitz. He enjoyed taking material, ruining his position, going to great lengths to prove the king can defend himself. I can get away with all kinds of nonsense as long as I can grab material. So maybe Brother Steinitz. Brother Wilhelm. That's my guy. Cook is hanging in here. He's playing reasonably well, but b3 was a mistake. You always want to watch out for no tricks happening on this long diagonal. You want to triple check before you go b3, that you're not gonna run into any discovered attacks. That's what happened here. After b3, knight takes e4. It's already tough, because you're not only losing the central pawn, but you're also losing an exchange on this long diagonal. Rook b1, knight c3. So yeah, the damage was sort of done there already. Now Cook is hanging around, but it looks like it's tough to go. Fuchsia is saying, I have two brothers, and let me tell you, they're not worth the trial. I have two sisters. So, yeah. I don't know. Can't win at the siblings game. No, I'm joking. Steinitz was a good answer. Conte Yellow guesses. But little Steinitz or big Steinitz? I think Steinitz, at least from the pictures I've seen, he's more of a big brother type, right? You don't want little brother Willy running around writing angry letters about to Chigorin and Tarash. Now, you don't want that. You want him as a big brother, as like an authoritative figure. Evans Gambit is saying, I think Lasker is the only player from 19th century who would beat Jan. I'm not sure. At some point I checked Lasker games and I was surprised how strong he was. I'm not sure if I'd be an outsider against Lasker, but he was surprisingly strong. So yeah, I would not rule it out. Murphy would probably also crush me. No, Murphy was pretty tricky. He would play the King's Gambit, and I would say, I know this is minus 180 according to Houdini, and then he would checkmate me. I have a feeling that's probably what would happen. Cook is still fighting back well. Better than his rating would make me expect. But it's very hard to overcome these odds he gave earlier with the move b3. Actually, I'm playing badly as usual. Now there's even counterplay after e5. Oh, e5, d. As I said, it's hard to overcome the damage done earlier, but he's fighting back well. Here, I want to pre-move rook b8, but I was going to say it's not impossible since he's shown a blind spot on this long diagonal earlier that he could go rook a1 when rook b8 would be a very bad pre-move because he would capture my rook. So I managed to control myself. Shaba has done all the math already. Lasker would get 100% draws versus Jan with black and loads of wins with white. I don't know. I'm not sure. But these cross-era comparisons, they're always a bit silly. Lasker was a fantastic player. Probably would crush me. And Belize is what Dutch defender is saying. What about Belize? Is Belize next to Aruba? I've been to Aruba. Belize sounds like it's in that neighborhood. Or have I been to Aruba? No, I've been to Curacao. I don't think I've actually been to Aruba. Belize. Cook resigns in the meantime because I took most of his pieces. As usual, I'm revealing complete ignorance for geography. Show me Belize on a map. Google should be like Siri. I should be allowed to tell Google stuff. And it would just show up. I'm pretty sure that exists. Yeah, Belize is not where I thought it would be at all. At least we all learned something. Or I learned something because I looked up where Belize is. Next to Honduras and Guatemala. Yeah, I don't know geography. I should play, what was this thing that I used to play? Travel Pod. At some point I learned geography by playing this game. But it's all gone now. Let's play against Blablup. What am I doing? I was trying to bring the chat back up, but you could also ask that question with respect to why on earth would I play the Benoni? An opening I strongly dislike. But what's done is done. And this system is a system that I've recommended myself multiple times. Knight e2, followed by knight g3. I believe is an excellent system against the Benoni. So yeah, shout out to Blablup for playing this. The point is, if black goes rook e8, then this typical plan. After f3 to go, let's say h5, knight h7, and later f5 is no longer good because the rook went to e8. Well, if you don't go rook e8, white is not obliged to play f3. After h5, for example, you should play bishop g5, I would guess. And it's not a very pleasant position for black. I have a feeling I might have had this position on the board in one of my glorious games. Can't remember what happened next though. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after bishop g5. He goes bishop e3, allowing h4, which is a little more brazen because now the knight has to go to h1. Not the end of the world, but still nothing I would have chosen to do. The problem, since I never play these positions, is I'm not really well versed with like the typical ideas. Like if he goes knight f2 now, do I go f5 or do I do something else? If he goes f4, do I go back to f6? Do I go knight d f6? Do I go bishop c3, or is that madness? Like, these things don't come natural to me. But what to do? I'll go f5, looks fun. Just fighting for the dark squares. e5 doesn't work because of rook e3, of course. So I'm expecting something like queen d2, when I haven't really decided what to do next. Queen e7 maybe? It's always knight g3, but it doesn't really seem to work. I don't know what to do. Go here. Oh, not the time to pre-move. I'll do it, but I'm getting outplayed again. It's gross how much it changes when I'm playing opening structures. How much it affects playing strength when I'm playing structures that I have no clue about. Like, it's really like a fish out of water. And first of all, not a very good fish to begin with. But yeah, I'm just getting crushed here by players that, on paper at least, are not stronger than me. But yeah, goes to show, like, pattern recognition is so important in chess. And if you don't know any of the patterns, then the going can get a little tougher. Helgoland is a country? I've been to Helgoland. Pretty sure it's a part of Germany, though. Whoa, e5, very aggressive. Does this work? Sorry. Does this work? Probably does work, actually. Ugh, should have thought. Because I missed knight fe4. I might lose this game. Now it's all getting very real. Because I missed knight fe4. Targeting both d6 and f6. Very unpleasant. And f4, of course. If Blablup spots that, I'm in a world of hurt. Knight fe4, knight h5, e6, for example, looks pretty much lost. Panic! He goes ed, which is a very pleasant surprise. Now I think I'm okay. Or at least more okay than I would have been after knight fe4. Maybe I'm still not okay, actually. Bishop f5, knight g4. Still asking questions. Was my position so bad that even after this, I'm not okay? That's a surprise. Another bad move. I'm drifting. I felt I had to stop knight e4 by all means necessary. But yeah, this isn't going well. Note to self, never ever lazily play into the Benoni anymore. Can't do it. It's just, ugh, these positions, they look so ugly already. I thought now I was okay, because I'm in time to go rook d8 and fight against the more advanced of the two d-pawns. But yeah, not an experience I want to repeat anytime soon. Material is equal now. I'll probably win on time as usual, but my position is also, if anything, slightly better. Okay, let's get rid of those. E6. Did not expect that route. At least I managed to create a winning position before winning on time, so I feel less bad about it. Good game by Blah Blub, and yeah, had he spotted, where was it? In this one position after takes. Knight fe4 here. I'm not sure I can swindle my way out of this. The knight is hanging, knight f6 check is threatening. Rook e5 doesn't work, so the only move I could see was knight h5, but then just e6. It's so painful. I can't allow knight takes d6, but what can I do? Rook d8 looks absolutely horrible, and there must be many ways to wrap this up. So yeah, that would have been unpleasant. Thanks for the game, blah bloop, and I can play one more game. Then I have to be out of here. Call it a night. Let's find one American at least, celebrating his Independence Day, and crush them. Where are my Americans at? Let's play our friend Little New York boy, Liney B. Who I believe is from Florida. It's very confusing with these US things. Things are never what they seem. Like Little New York boy is not from New York. Brooklyn Bobby is not really Bobby from Brooklyn. Chicago Dave actually is from Chicago. It's a jungle out there. This is the so-called Dutch opening. It's not a very good opening for black. Knight c3 is one of many very good moves. On move 2, g3, or bishop g5, or knight f3, or c4 are some of the other good moves. Here, in the old days, they used to take on f6, but the modern treatment of this position is just to go e3, knight f3, develop pieces, and say, haha, you went for f5 very early. What were you thinking? I'm not sure the haha is theory, but you get the idea. I might be threatening bishop b5 check. Not sure if I am, but I might be. How do we punish all these indecencies? The sad thing is I'm not sure how winning this position is after knight d7, king d7. It can't be bad, of course, with the king on d7, but it's not as great. as I would like it to be. Still, it's pretty good. DC or just castle? Oh, castle, let him figure it out. Maybe I should have gone DC. You never know. So many decisions in chess. It's very tough. King on c6 looks a bit exposed, but actually it's not that easy to get to him. I'm not really a natural-born attacker. So I'll just make boring moves. Hope to eventually open the position with some c4 business. And embarrass Mr. King c6. That's the best analogy I could think of for King, Mr. King. I'm a pawn grabber, but this might be a pawn where even I would think, ooh, this might be a little hot to handle. If I can hang on to this pawn, great, but it is gonna expose the black king quite significantly. What are we discussing? Anyone else here playing Gent in July? I don't know, but I once played a tournament in Chas van Gent, which I believe is on the Dutch side of the border. The old days, like when was it, 96 maybe? I won some junior tournament. It was quite a strong international junior tournament back then. I was happy I won. Was it 96? Probably was later than 96, maybe 98. I don't know. I do remember I won. Yay me. Check. I forgot about the banter part, but I've been here for a while. We had the tournament earlier, which was fun with Peter Svidler's surprising visit. And now we are about to wrap up. I've mishandled this a bit. I missed rook f8. I'm still better after queen e4, but actually not as winning as I would like to be. And I'm not sure I have a better move, because queen h7, rook f2 is, a little embarrassing. So I have to go for this and endgame and exchange up, but where black is actually quite active, which is not what I was opting for, to be honest with you. Then again, it's still kind of winning, I guess. Rook here, other rook here. I gotta consolidate this f2 weakness and then go after stuff. Is c3 bothering me? Bothers me a little. Anything I want to do about it? Maybe make one active move. Everyone should make one active move per game. And see, you make one active move, your opponent panics, gives his bishop. That's how it normally works. I believe that brings us to the end of today's show. Little New York boy, not pleased about that bishop blunder. I understand that. My apologies for inducing it with that very active move. I wasn't planning to make any active moves, but then it just happened. Alright, this was a little late night wrapping up, tired session, cooling down after our tournament and all this fiddler fun. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'll keep doing these Banter Blitzes until I crushed all of you multiple times. Enjoy whatever is left of your Independence Day or whatever is left of your night if you are in Europe. Go to sleep. I certainly will do the same thing now. See you guys tomorrow or whenever we do the next show. Yeah, bye.